You kinda stole my thunder with that. I planned to start in style with something like "Let's get ready to rumble," but I guess is also fine. So anyway, guys, warm welcomes to you all with me in the virtual studio. So that means on TeamSpeak is Crota. Hello there.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, and tonight we have the best match of them all. Regarding your feedback, guys, you told us that, oh, you know, Wytra, TLO, such good players, we want them to play against each other. So we said, you know, guys, the viewers like you so much, what would you say of settling an argument between you for $125? And they said, yeah, okay, let's do it. So tonight we have the best match to unite them all. And it is spawning in the top right corner of Daybreak map. His name is TLO, which means the little one, and he's playing for Team Liquid.
Meanwhile, on the bottom left-hand side of the map, we have a White Raw Grandpa Protoss here, and we'll see what ingenious plays he has in store. This is a best of 9 series. We get to see all of these crazy White Raw tactics versus TLO's solid gameplay from what we saw against Panda Tank earlier.
And not to mention that Wytra is probably not only, you know, the grandpa, but he's also grandmasters, and also probably the oldest grandmaster around the world. He's 32 years old. He's from Ukraine, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. Yes, I'm quite sure so. So you know, guys, a lot of people just cheer for him just because he, you know, in esports way, it just may be funny to call someone who's 32 old, but he's the oldest player that's still on the professional scene and doing so well, and he has been practicing so hard to make a nice comeback in Heart of the Swarm, and you know, right now he's just being annoying with his probe. A good start to, you know, good start to any show match.
Yeah, you know, those early probes, there's not much that Terran players or Zerg players can really do. The probe walks around holding minerals in his mouth going, what are you gonna do? These were yours and I stole them! What are you gonna do about it, huh? I got shields, what do you got? Natural regeneration. Blah.
Can you imagine someone stealing your wallet and... oh, sorry, wallet is actually not a good comparison. Stealing $5 out of your wallet and just running around you in circles and saying, ha 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 ha, I've got your $5. So
and there's nothing you can do about it. He just stands there, just like, you know what, you can hit me, I can run away, and then I can come back, and I'm good, and I'm refreshed, and I'll hit you back. So a little bit of blocking there. And, you know, pretty much what we see is what I expected to see. Both players very, very respectful of the other. No crazy antics as of yet. Forge, fast expansion, pool, and then a hatch first here on Daybreak.
Although it's quite interesting to see Wytra not going with something very crazy at the start, because he is usually one of the players who risks everything in the first match of a show match. This is a best of 9 series, so even if he loses the first game, it wouldn't actually cost him all that much, only 1 game out of 9 to start off with something fancy, and then it perhaps may throw TLO out of balance. But anyway, we have some nice chasing down on the map. This probe is trying to stay alive as long as it can, but you know, eventually some friends of yours come by, and you know, you can no longer run with the $5 bill and just make funny jokes.
Yeah, I think that probe may actually, no, cutting the corner, that's going to be a little close. The shields, are they going to regenerate? Oh. Yeah, I think if it's one Zergling chasing down, you can't get enough damage because the shields start to regenerate.
Yeah.
With 2 Zerglings, they can do alternating hits, and that's what we saw there. So White Raw loses the $5 somewhere, but then again, TLO doesn't get it back either.
This one Zergling stays here and tries to look for it, but it's already soaked inside the metal ground. This is how physics work in Starcraft 2. So anyway, we have Wytra with a cannon. TLO, worthwhile mentioning, he only had 2 Zerglings, so he went for a very economic opening. People like Nerdshow will always go with 6 Zerglings, even up to 8, and then try to deal some damage to get the cost of the Zerglings back. But TLO risks it all, and oh, this Zergling cannot die. This is the only you know, except Overlord's vision that TLO has on the map. He has to keep this Zergling alive because this is basically his eyeball that gives him vision from where Wytra will be going.
Alright, but White Raw will be going into a Stargate here, and with this, are you expecting Phoenix play, Oracle play, crazy Void Ray play? What do you expect White Raw to do, and what have you seen him do in the past? Because I didn't cast all of White Raw's games yet yesterday.
So against Zerg, I haven't seen White Raw playing all that. I haven't seen White Raw playing all that often. So I can only say that it is currently popular in Heart of the Swarm to go mass Phoenixes. Why? Because Phoenixes have been buffed with additional range. They are so nice picking the Overlords, and also even better when it comes to dealing with Mutas. But then White is the guy who we know for special tactics, you know? Are you afraid of your opponent? No, it's no problem. I have special tactics. And he's implementing just that, and he will show us some fancy nice play with Oracle against Zerg, which we haven't seen yet in all the show matches that we've done last week.
Yeah, Oracle should be able to deal a lot of damage to those drones. The Queen should be nearby to try help and clean up. It will take a lot of focus fire as a sea of Zerglings surrounding White Raw in the middle of the map. And oh, both get taken down. This is going to set White Raw back a lot.
Yes, and you can say, oh, it's only 2 units. Yes, but for now it was all White Raw had, and those 2 units can be precious when it comes to defending your main, you know, just being that cork in your wall, making sure that no Zerglings go past. And White Raw also is going for his third, and you know, because he lost those 2 units, the Zerglings will see all of it, and White Raw will have to come up with something fancy now, but not... Don't mind that. Right now, White Raw's... Wow! Did you know that Oracle can take down a Queen?
I did not know an Oracle could take down a Queen, and it looks like it is not going to take down 2 Queens, though. One does get taken down, and White Raw also losing a cannon as it was warping in back at home. So both sides doing a lot of early trades early on. 60 drones versus 49 probes. Not quite sure who has the advantage here.
And White Raw goes in with a second Oracle, but there is already a Spore Crawler. Very quick reaction time by TLO, and it seems White Raw will just try to find some damage. The second Queen is already damaged, but there is a Spore Crawler here as well. TLO very solid, rock solid with his defenses and prediction of what will happen. Also a nice run by with the Zerglings here, and White Raw is forced to use the Photon Overcharge on his Nexus.
Yeah, Photon Overcharge, a range 13 cannon, 20 damage per shot. Very effective at shutting down these early harassments with Zerglings. Now that poor Mothership Core, though, what is this? Another Oracle coming back in. So White Raw really investing heavily into this Oracle harassment. I was not expecting this. And the Oracle play is more of something that you see against a Terran player than a Zerg.
Yes, exactly, because against Terran you have the natural advantage against workers and against marines, and you can easily take both of them down. And TLO slightly misjudging the timing on the Nexus, but then it's down now. No Photon Overcharge for now, but it seems you know, the cannons, the Mothership Core, all of that added together, it just laid waste across this whole Zergling unit that was there trying to do some commando style skirmishes. It didn't work the way that TLO has planned it, and you know, White Raw still being aggressive with his oracles. And what is he going for now? Oh my god, are these carriers?
Alright, so we are transitioning into early carriers. I think this is the first time I've seen carriers being trained in the 11-minute mark. So, you know, special tactics White Raw going for carriers, and TLO is going to be in a little bit of a sticky situation. He is expanding to his 4th base on the bottom right. That means that he's going to be or stretched very thin across the map. No Hydralisk yet. No, it looks like they are being trained already, but it is going to come down to a little bit of play here as we now see Queens making their way and setting down Creep Trimmers.
And talking about things one would not expect, triple carrier production from Stargates. This is nothing that we have seen so far. So guys, if you want to be watching Heart of the Swarm tonight, this is the place where you should be watching this. This is where the new meta game is being defined, and I really don't know how this style of play from White Raw will go. If this be Wings of Liberty, I would say yeah, it works well against X, it doesn't work so well against Y, but for now, the only thing we can say is we are all equally as excited.
Yeah, equally excited. We're going to see the upgraded Hydralisk off of creep chasing down carriers, and I think there is going to be enough anti-air. TLO may get surprised, but then he'll just come back perhaps with Corruptors. White Raw has a small window of opportunity to deal a lot of damage to the army of TLO during this time before TLO will respond.
Do you see that? TLO maybe not responding. He is probably... No, he is now aware. Oh my god, he sees the carrier being produced right now, and he's sure. But he also went for the best possible thing he could for the Vipers. The Vipers will be able to drag the carriers away from the army of the Protoss, away from their safety zone, and I imagine the Hydras will be very handsome against that.
Yeah, Hydra's easily going to be able to one-shot or two-shot those carriers as soon as they're all within range. However, White Raw does have 4 carriers with another one on the way, so it is going to be 5 carriers already. Weapons upgrade now starting at level 2, and this is going to be a battle as we see 11 Hydralisks. Oh, in comes the Zerglings. Roaches trying to push their way in. This is going to be an interesting battle as in comes the Vipers. The Vipers, are they going to pluck? There's one!
No! No, this is not exactly as White Raw had it planned, but then... Oh! Now all the Vipers are outside position and White Raw is trying to snipe them down, but we have a Fungal straight in the face of all the carriers, and this is not looking good for White Raw. But then TLO is retreating. He's also making another push. No, he saw that the wall is powerful, too powerful there. And right now, White Raw holding with only 3 carriers left. One of them nearly doesn't have the interceptors, but still White Raw holds. So this force of TLO will have to recuperate its strengths, and we also see some Viper enjoying a nice milkshake. It probably tastes like bile right now, but this is Zerg, so why not?
Yeah, just trying to get as much energy back onto those Vipers. And what is going to be the counter from White Raw? White Raw needs a way to deal with those Hydralisks. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw High Templars just to feed back the Viper and follow up into Archons. That's probably the best situation for White Raw, but I don't know, these Vipers, 6 of them with Blinding Cloud and Abduct could cause lots of problems.
Oh yes, they can, but now most of the interceptors are out, and this is important. The carriers themselves don't deal damage, the interceptors do. So if the interceptors stay on field enough time, and it seems they do, with having the mid shield of the Zealots, which went to the freight first, it was enough to keep White Raw alive, and he'll be able to push this back. Oh my god, this game is so amazing.
Yeah, what's key about Abduct is that while you're abducting a unit, that unit can't attack. We've seen it often with Colossi, and now we've seen it with carriers. The difference with carriers, as you mentioned, is that the interceptors are actually doing the damage, so you don't get that 1 to 2 second stun that you would normally get off of the unit, and then White Raw was able to fight back.
Yep, that's exactly right. And what is White Raw trying to do now? He's still going for carriers. Let's see his upgrade levels. He already has +2 on his carrier weapons. Let's see how he does now. And he's just going on. He has Archons. Oh, one of the Archons got pulled. Such a huge loss. He only had 3 of them. A lot of Zealots plus Archons will be a nice mid-grinder. But TLO just pulling everything together here. And this doesn't look good. White Raw with some heavy losses, but TLO, it seems he's behind in upgrades, so White Raw can still keep alive, but is he? He just has a couple of units left. And TLO has a significant army advantage. This is not looking good for White Raw right now.
Yeah, White Raw never found that 4th base. He doesn't know that TLO's on 4 bases. If he did, he may try to do a Warp Prism drop, something to put pressure in multiple locations. Oh,
but White Raw did with a couple of Zealots. He did a run-by with a couple of Zealots and Dark Temper. He's producing 1 Dark Temper at a time just to give some harassment and make his opponents just sit on needles. I'm not sure if that's a saying in English, but hey. And right now it's another push, but this TLO's army just looks so much more powerful than White Raw's, and even though he has the carrier advantage, I'm not sure is that enough DPS to deal with all the Hydras, or does he need something else right now?
Yeah, that Hydralisk Roach army is so much more deadly here in Heart of the Swarm with that faster movement speed upgrade. Couple of Roaches may get caught out of position trying to get away. You can see that the Zealots, a natural complement to the army, as the Zealots are good at dealing with Hydralisk. Meanwhile, Zealots have done a run-by into the main base, taking out a couple easy drones here. the Queens will clean it up, as TLO is splitting his attention between the main base and the middle of the field.
You could say, you know, that this round by didn't do too much damage, but hey, TLO had to focus back on his base, and oh, we seem to have an engagement now. I'm not sure TLO was ready for this. He's fighting an uphill battle. So many, oh my god, so many Archons at front, and we only have 4 supporting carriers, but it has been enough to push TLO back. Oh, this is looking so good. This is the army composition no one has expected or predicted. Whitera is just showing us some new fancy tricks in Heart of the Swarm.
Alright, the Zealots now trying to clean up the hatchery over here. It's going to go down to 300 hit points, unable to finish the job, but the Hydralisk and the Roaches all pulled away. Now we see the front expansion getting cleaned up, but what is this? There are Swarm hosts, but they can't attack the air.
Yes, unfortunately, you know, they can in the campaign, but you need to go for the upgrade. But now there are Hydras. The TLO army is still looking strong, but Whitera has just this huge army advantage, and he's killing everything left and right, reproducing the interceptors as we speak, and eventually he may take up the game. Yes, he does. TLO feels overwhelmed, and Whitera secures the victory in the game number 1, gaining just 1-0 lead.
Yeah, that was a really, really strong game, and I think the addition of those Dark Templars were key in that final battle. If you saw, Whitera was sniping down the Overseers, making sure that there was no detection. I clicked on a couple of those Dark Templars at the end. One of them had like 12 kills, another of them had 8 kills, and no damage on them whatsoever. So they were completely unanswered, and TLO just didn't see them, and he couldn't attack them.
Yes, exactly right. Anyway, guys, if you're watching this, if you're loving this as much as we can, I want to remind you that this is the final day of our huge promotion that we have been doing, this Heart of the Swarm giveaway week. It has been doing so well that we decided to go with one more show match and give you guys one more copy of Heart of the Swarm itself. So for the live viewers, if you stay until the end of the show match, there will be one Heart of the Swarm copy one of you will get, but you need to be the most random person on the chat. My randomizer will be picking someone, and you need to be watching this actively. So once I read out your name, once I call you out, you will need to reply saying, hey, I'm here, I'm not a bot, and here I just typed a dot in the chat just to give you proof that I am human. So anyway, we already are in the lobby for the next game, so let's just get this thing started. Yep, everyone seems to be in the lobby and the game is loading. Can you hear the beeping of the Protoss heart in the background? Or is it the Zerg heart? I don't know. It beeps somewhere in the Blizzard's server room. Anyway, the map is going to be Newkirk City. Newkirk District. I just saw this precinct, and you may ask me a question very smartly. What is precinct? It is exactly the same as district, and the map is exactly the same as well, so don't you worry. This is the same map you have been seeing all along. I'm not sure why there are 2 maps though. Anyway, spawning here in the bottom right position, we have TLO from Team Liquid playing as the Blue Zerg.
Meanwhile, on the bottom left-hand side of the map, we have Whitera, Grandpa Protoss, showing that carriers are in fact useful. Dustin Browder, I hope you watch this cast and say, you know what, I'm glad we didn't remove the carrier, because players like Whitera can still use it. Yeah,
I think you nearly used the exact tone that Dustin Browder will be using. Dustin Browder would be using, because that you sounded nearly like him. And the carriers, I think removal of them from the game would be a huge mistake. Because if people aren't using them, carriers are not hurting the game in any way. We need to start worrying about the unit if it's being abused. But for now, I just love people like Whitera experimenting and giving a living proof that carriers, in fact, this old unit is not all that useless. Does it have any deeper meaning? Is Whitera trying to tell us that old things are not so useless as one may think?
I don't know. That's more of a philosophical question, and you know, some things get better with age. So maybe StarCraft players, you know, they can't rely on that crazy 600 APM once they get into their late 20s and early 30s. Carpal tunnel does catch up with you. I know TLO has had a little bit of that as well, and we'll see what Whitera does here. It looks as though he's expecting a hatchery first, but TLO waited. Nope, spawning pool now down, and the probe steals the $5 and laughs at the drone.
Yeah, just saying, you know, I have your $5 and just try to place a hatchery now. Anyway, the hatchery will get placed eventually. It's just a matter of being annoyed. And in the background we see that Whitera is going for his forge, and it seems, oh, very nice. TLO manages to sneak in the hatchery anyway. This is always a big win because he doesn't need to go for 4 Zerglings. Now, if there was a pylon there blocking that expansion, it would be a different matter. It would be more difficult. And Whitera just tempting the fate, staying here between the drones and provoking them again. Hey, 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 I've got $5 from your colleague. But no, TLO is not easily provoked, and as we see, he again went for only 2 Zerglings, which I think is a sign of his strong economical openings. He is very greedy with them, but we saw that they work extremely well, and he can get them defended anyway.
Yeah, I'm surprised that TLO hasn't moved out. Nope, never mind. I was gonna say, I'm expecting the 3rd drone to build a hatchery at the 4-minute mark, and TLO on cue once again goes for that 3rd hatchery. So, and we'll see what's gonna be happening here. Whitera needs to close up this front door. This is rather wide open. Cybernex Core should be coming in, followed by perhaps another pylon, and then the Zerglings won't be able to step inside that base for quite some time.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and also they won't be able, you know, he will need to sacrifice an overlord to fly into the main and check what Whitera is doing. And on this map, this is very important, because from the natural there is no way you're going to fly in the overlord to the main. And usually Protoss exploit that by building the key tech buildings here next to their main nexus, because this is the most difficult spot to reach with an overlord, and it gets noted at the latest. So anyway, TLO will have to sacrifice an overlord. Zerglings won't tell him a thing, but then I think we mentioned that a couple of times already, that TLO is a very solid player, and he always, without any exceptions, he scouts around the map trying to find out proxy pylons, proxy thingies. He's trying to find out, is there anything cheesy going on.
Yeah, if you take a look at the Zergling, you can see its random path. It is clicking every which corner. It wants to make sure that no proxy pylons are set up anywhere. One proxy pylon unnoticed can deal terrible damage to you, especially as Zerg players will be forced to run all the way back. Whitera, however, does spot the 3rd base, and now the ball's in Whitera's court. It looks like he is going to be going for Stargate play once again, and we'll see if TLO has an answer for Phoenixes or perhaps the Oracle.
Now, I'm just wondering, because so far every Zerg versus Protoss matchup we saw, the Protoss nearly always went for either a ton of Phoenixes or some Phoenixes, and then support that with a couple of Void Rays that would just fly in and try to snipe a base. And Whitera, oh, I know what he's doing. It's one of the builds he has been developing in the beta. So notice his mothership core is out right now, and once this nexus is finished, the mothership core has been timed precisely to match the finishing of this nexus, and it will have enough energy to make it into this giant cannon. But then, you know, we don't have the giant cannon yet, and Whitera has to defend it somehow. Mothership core has a damage DPS of 1 stalker supported by a zealot and another stalker. It should be enough to chase off the Zerglings. A very nice play by Whitera, and like I said, the mothership core just in the nick of time. If TLO decides to throw a couple of additional roaches, it will already have the energy to make this into this big cannon and defend it easily.
Alright, Whitera now going after this Overlord. Looks like the Overlord is going to spot the Oracle doing a quick flyby, as the Stalker is going to finish off this Overlord here. Meanwhile, Zerglings trying to put pressure at the 3rd, unable to do so, and we see a large chain of Zerglings still wandering across the map.
Well, I know what is going through TLO's mind, but I can already tell you that Whitera has a contingency plan. One Overlord with only 2 hit points escaping, but Whitera, I think, knows what is cooking in the background, and he wants to defend it for any cost. He knows this expansion is open, he knows how fragile this is, and Zerglings trying to get to the main. No way, there's a Zealot here standing guard. And what will TLO do? 12 banings on the way alongside with the upgrades. The upgrades are kinda mistimed, but hey, the push should be pretty damn strong anyways.
Yeah, but right now, White Rob moving out with 3 Oracles. Count them, 3. He's going to try and put pressure. TLO has no Spore Crawlers inside his base, and this could deal terrible, terrible damage. As we see the Banelings now trying to run up the front door.
Oh, but the Banelings, oh, they got stuck on the Stalker, but is it enough? I think that the Zerglings should go for the Cybernetic Score. There is a Fleet Beacon finishing up, but it will not be enough, and the Mothership Core is now making its way now. Whitera is distracted, so there is another wave of Zerglings and other stuff included to attack at his third as well, and so many workers being killed, 15 right now. In the meanwhile, we have a big exchange because 2 Oracles just went into play, sorry, 3 Oracles, and they are taking workers as crazy. And who will come out on top of this?
Right now, it's a race to see who can kill more workers. It is now 18 to 19. The Oracles should be going after units, not the hatchery. Oracles are pretty much out of energy. Meanwhile, at the third base of White Raw, he is now defended against those Zerglings, and both sides suffering terrible losses. Both sides with 19 workers killed, and both sides trying to recover.
Yes, this is amazing, my friend. This is exactly how Heart of the Swarm was intended to be played, and the Zerglings try to make their way in, but without the Baneling support. I'm sorry, guys, you don't have tickets for this party, so you need to wait in line. You need to wait, you know, behind the Banelings, and make sure you get in. Otherwise, you will just waste a lot of innocent lives. And as we know, PETA recently made a video about that Zerglings are also human beings. Anyway, oh, the Oracle's going ahead of Zerglings, and they managed to snipe up a couple of Banelings, and now TLO is doing some nice damage, but then Whitera just defends it, it seems just seamlessly.
Yeah, that natural defense on the Nexus, that Photon overcharge, so good. Whitera apparently oblivious to the fact he has 3 idle probes inside his base. A Void Ray now coming inside the main. And TLO,
wow, did you see that?
Pulls back.
Wow, TLO tried to pull it near the Spore Crawler. That if Whitera wouldn't be paying attention, he would just get caught and destroyed. But no, Whitera with some stellar play tonight, guys. He's showing us how to enjoy Heart of the Swarm at its top level, and now he's also, I think, he has this expansion, and as his main rule of life says, make expand and then defense it. He does exactly that. Zealots now sacrificing themselves for ire, and oh, this pylon nearly got taken down, but 2 cannons paid for that, and you know, it's still not quite safe for Whitera.
Yeah, Whitera now cleaning up Overlords on the other side of the field. This is going to hurt TLO later on. He has plenty of supply room to work with, but at some point he will have to sacrifice Larva in order to retrain those Overlords. This has been a push back and forth, kind of like a yin and a yang. Anytime Zerglings and Banelings try to bust the front door, Oracles sneak in and get more worker kills. We are still sitting at 19 to 19 as the losses are mounting up for TLO.
Such an even play. You could say, oh my god, these guys have done themselves ton of damage, and one of them must have screwed something up, and thus the other one will be on top. No, not in this case. For now, it seems they have been doing some heavy damage, but also the damage control teams have been on standby, and they have done perfect job defending all those pushes from both sides. And TLO going for another push, this time with Hydras. Nearly, the speed upgrade is nearly done, and well, will it take the third? I'm kind of anxious about this.
Alright, Carriers, Hydralisk, Zerglings now doing a push, and meanwhile we have an air army from Whitera trying to push inside the main. There's the recall back home, Scroll of Town Portal, and welcome to my party as the Void Rays, Carriers, and Oracles have arrived.
Oh my god, and Whitera just showing us the potency behind the Protoss, and using the recall exactly like you said, the Town Portal Scroll. Now all the Hydras will probably get chasing down, no, but they already have the upgrade, so TLO will be able to evacuate from this. By the way, there has been a nice, you know, switch of usage of the Hydras. They haven't changed themselves except the speed upgrade, and this has brought so much innovation into Starcraft because people no longer feel that, okay, I'll just make a bunch of Hydras, but I cannot fail with the push. If I fail, all my Hydras will die, I will just lose a ton of minerals and gas. No, right now you have the speed upgrade, you can move fast and you can escape if you need, and thus made the Hydra play so much more potent.
Yeah, Hydra playing much stronger. I remember back in the day, or back earlier during the beta, the Hydralisk moved at 3.37 off of creep, which was the same as a stimmed Marine. Simply too fast. We do have one War Prism in the bottom right-hand side. It is going to do a drop inside the main. Meanwhile, a large army coming in through the front door.
Oh, will it deal any damage, to be honest? That's the question. White just runs in with the Zealots here at the drop, and he'll be defending this army of Hydras. And Void Rays, it seems, do a pretty decent damage alongside with some Zealots mid shield, although the air army is left without support, and TLO will be able to take it down. Only sentries on the ground remain. Two nice force fields just extending the lifetime of the oh my god, and he survives. White taking game number 2 after such an even play.
Yeah, that wasn't very impressive. That Warp Prism drop coming in from White Raw on the other end, I don't know if you guys got to see that, but there was 4 to 8 Zealots, and those Zealots were just destroying the Queens, and really TLO couldn't deal enough damage to make White Raw suffer. So White Raw now, with a 2-0 lead in this best of 9, looking to perhaps get 3 in a row, and this is going to be painful for TLO. TLO needs to get on the board.
Even in best of 9, if you start off with 2-0, yeah, that's awesome. This is what we want. So anyway, guys, we'll be going into a short commercial break. We'll be back in 3 minutes once the game is being hosted, and we'll carry on. I mean, this is going to be the best evening and the best summary of this Heart of the Swarm giveaway madness we've done. So stay tuned, guys.
All right.
Alright guys, are you having fun? Just let us know on the chat. I would love to see the chat go crazy, because these games are crazy, and you know, the state of the chat would just reflect upon that. Anyway, it seems to be a tradition today. I'm introducing again the Blue Zerg spawning here in the bottom right corner of the Aquilon Flats, if I'm not mistaken, and he is Liquid TLO.
Meanwhile, White Raw, perhaps the closest professional gamer close to my age, is spawning as the red Protoss player on the top left-hand side of the map. It is Papa, Grandpa Protoss. I don't know. Can you say Papa, Grandpa? I don't know.
I think that
Papa Protoss.
Papa Protoss could be fine.
Alright, I'll call him Papa Protoss. It just sounds nicer. It's Papa Protoss. Just rolls off the tongue.
By the way, one of the friends of mine have been watching his stream recently when he was playing against Beastie QT on our stream, and on his stream, Whitera said, "Now I'm going to play a Showmatch. This is going to be easy $100 for me." I don't think he was saying anything of that sort now. Playing against TLO, you can just see the tension building between those two players. You can almost imagine the sweat on Whitera's forehead, because those games are far from easy. Even though he has won two, both of them have been extremely difficult for him.
Yeah, none of the games have been that little small, like, I'm just gonna move out with a small attack force and see how much damage I can do. TLO has been exchanging blow for blow extremely well, and now it's up to a White Raw to try to add on to his lead, while TLO has yet to get on the board.
So for now, Whitera has been demonstrating to us his unique style of play that no one else does right now, where he secures his third base with the Mothership Core. Oh, and now he went for the pylon, so TLO's very aggressive, very greedy economical openings don't work anymore against a proxy pylon, and Whitera just cancels the pylon now and will stay here to annoy the next generation of drones that come by. He says, "Oh yeah, you all players think you're so fancy, you beat me, you defeat me, but I see generations and generations being wasted, I see generations passing and coming," so he will do the same with the drone.
Alright, so what's happening here? The scouting probe has been taken out, and TLO has not yet placed down his fourth base. He should be doing that momentarily, unless he tries to go for a crazy two-base tactic. Nope, it looks like TLO does want to play that macro game, and now it's up to the Zerglings, which are now 4 in number instead of the typical TLO 2, to harass the front door.
I think 4 has been the necessity. Oh, this being close. But the photon cannon finished in time. The 4 Zerglings have been a necessity, because normally TLO just cuts corners to get earlier expansions, and we saw him yesterday. He went for 3 bases between even going for a spawning pool. Now, talking about greedy, that is the most greedy you can get. And he had his third base up in, I think, 3 minutes and 15 seconds. And that is so super early. But when you get an offensive pylon, if you don't get 4 Zerglings, then you will regret that later on.
Yeah, if you don't get those 4 Zerglings, you just can't figure out what's happening. You can't clear out the pylon if the pylon does finish, and it delays you even further.
So for now, let's see what we will get. Whitera, I think the reason why he has been doing so well against TLO, amongst many, is that the fact that he's going for 3 bases. It seems that a lot of Protosses are just stuck in the 2-base mindset from Wings of Liberty, and you know, with the addition of Mothership Core, taking the 3rd base, even if it's opened, even without a wall, as we saw earlier, it is still possible. You just need to be on top of your game with the Mothership Core, and it is such an awesome style of play.
Yeah, it's been very, very interesting to see that White Raw has been sitting on those 3 bases, and now take a look at TLO. TLO is already clearing the destructible rocks that leads to his 4th, and I believe he's expecting to just establish up his 4th, because he knows White Raw is going to take his 3rd.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. Now, what Whitera could do to surprise TLO would just be to go for a 2-base all-in, which is always an option. But as we can see, we have this nice added dynamics of where the metagame progresses, and if in Wings of Liberty it has been extremely difficult to go for the 3rd, and like 90% of the Protosses would just go for 2-base all-ins, and all the Zegs knew that, and it was sort of a gentleman's agreement not to mention it to everyone else, and they would just play 2-base against 3-base and see who comes out on top. Now with so many options, you need to be more careful with your scouting, you need to be more careful with your build orders. It's a lot more factors other than Whitera just has to be careful with his Stalker and the Zealot. He can't lose them right now.
Yeah, the Stalker Zealot Mothership Core, a very good poking, prodding combination. The Zerglings are good at surrounding the Stalker and the Zealot, but the Zealot, with the help of a Mothership Core, can two-shot a Zergling and really dwindle down those numbers. So far, we're seeing White Rock get into additional gateways, but nothing really part of Tier 3 as of yet. So we don't know if this is a 2-base all-in. Normally, I would expect a Nexus to be thrown down momentarily, as there isn't enough production units.
Oh, and TLO goes here and checks. Oh, why try you, sneaky guy? You'll be trying to secure your third up. Well, that's not a big surprise to me, but I will make it as hard for you as it is humanly possible.
Yeah, so the Zerglings will get in there, and White Raw, by taking this as his third base, perhaps surprises TLO a bit. This is a little bit later than normal. Meanwhile, we can see a proxy pylon has been laid down, and a cancel.
Not so good, and TLO, I don't think he was expecting that. He thought that, ah, yeah, I'll just bait him out in front of his base with this small aggression. But now we have a 4-gate push. This is exactly a 4-gate push, guys, from Whitera, and it's being so effective just because TLO was playing so greedy.
Yeah, this 4-gate push isn't your standard, like, I'm going to try to 4-gate you at 6 minutes 30 seconds. This was a 4-gate with me throwing down a Nexus, so it looks like I'm trying to go economic game. Exactly. And now with this, he's going to take out the natural, the Zealots are going to clean up.
Oh my god, the spine crawlers didn't even get cancelled. This is huge, guys. And TLO looking straight into the eyes of another loss, but will he manage to stop this with his huge swarm of Zerglings? No, he has to retreat. And another GG. Whitera goes up 3-0 against TLO. Oh, this is so... right now, it just pays back that he has been practicing so hard in the Heart of the Swarm beta. He knows the game throughoutly.
Yeah, like, if there was a standard timing 4-gate, TLO would have spotted it, and he would know, okay, I need to do X, Y, and Z to stop you. TLO scouts out, he scouts out one gateway being warped in back inside his main, he sees a Nexus getting placed down, he's like, okay, he's gonna go economic, I'm gonna go a round of drones. One round of drones later, all of a sudden he sees this huge number of Zealots, and it's important that they were Zealots because Zealots have the fastest warp in time with only a 28-second cooldown. And with that stronger economy than normal, since it was a delayed 4-gate, it was just wave after wave with Mothership, and that time warp on those Zerglings to slow them down and take some of those Zerglings out of the battle was brilliant.
So as you mentioned, this wasn't a typical 4-gate, and this push just hit in the right moment. But anyway, we will see what comes out of the game number 4 of this series. So far, it has been awesome, and for all of you Whitera fans, I'm sure this is a big treat. So anyway, we'll be back after a short break. Alright lads, let's start the next game, and here we have, again, none other than Liquid TLO spawning as the blue Zerg in the bottom right corner of Belshir Vestige.
Meanwhile, on the top left, White Raw, who has a commanding 3-0 lead in this best of 9, spawning as the red Protoss. I don't know if they decided not to change their colors or if they did that to respect you and the overlays, but I think White Raw's been consistently red throughout the tournament, right? Or throughout the show match.
I didn't have any you know, story hooks to tell you this, but I need to tell you that I predicted what colors they will be using before the stream started, and I just knew that TLO will be blue and White Raw will be red. They always go for those colors, and so I put them on the. To be honest, I haven't even thought that there may be a discrepancy between their colors and the overlay, because I just knew that they're going to pick those.
Okay, what's funny is because I see White Raw as red and TLO as blue.
Didn't I just say that, or did I say the reverse?
I thought you said the reverse.
Oh well, yeah. Who would mind that? You know what I mean, guys.
Okay. Maybe I'm just confused, or maybe I'm just mishearing or misunderstanding. But let's take a look at what's happening here. So far, the games haven't really deviated from each other. White Raw hasn't had to pull any true special tactics besides the carriers out in this series so far.
Besides the bazooka, he didn't have any hidden guns, right?
Yeah, well, you know, it's carriers now. Carriers is like, you think it's a one-trick pony, and you're like, oh, he's going carriers. But after the pony does the same trick 4 or 5 times, it's just not that impressive.
Yeah, we'll see what White Raw goes for this game. This is his 4th game, and yeah, so you know, I'm just all open. Now, anyway, guys, I wanted to remind you, some of you have been asking that question in the chat, what about the Heart of the Swarm giveaway? So it turns out that after the stream is finished, for our followers and for people who watch us live, there will be a giveaway. So if you're watching this live, if you stay until the end of the show match, you will get a chance of winning Heart of the Swarm copy. But what you need to do is to follow us on Twitch, because if I find out that the most random person picked by a randomizer on the chat is not following us, and oh, that will be such a loss for you. So make sure you follow us on Twitch, and otherwise, best of luck. And now let's get back to the game itself. We have a standard gateway, Forge Fast Expand and gateway opening. What's worthwhile mentioning is that there is no +1 upgrade so far, and White Raw is just playing this gasless. So he will either go for some crazy mass zealot build, and we saw those builds this week, or he will just go for a very quick third, which would be ridiculous, but hey, it's White Raw.
Well, White Raw could also go for double gas and surprise us both, as White Raw places down 2 assimilators, and his 3rd one. Alright, so the timing here does indicate to me perhaps Stargate play. He hasn't really been going to the robotics facility, and I really like the fact that the Stargate produces a unit that has detection, kind of.
Yeah, so that's very important to note, by the way. The timing on the gases for White Raw has been very late. So this indicates he won't be going into some very heavy all-in. He probably will just go for his 3rd anyway, but by delaying the gases he get an earlier tech. So he got the earlier gateway, an earlier cybernetic score, all of that is just slightly earlier, and by going Stargate, again, like the last games, he probably will surprise us all again with some cheesy tactics.
Alright, so cheesy tactics are so good, as TLO does have his 3rd base up and running. He is going to be sitting on 3 bases for quite some time with only 1 gas, so it looks like he's going to be trying to play defensively, perhaps not moving out with so many Zerglings and Roaches until the timing is right. I think TLO wants to play it safe. He's going to sit back, build some Spore Crawlers, and get some Queens, and really hope that he can fend off White Raw and prevent him from establishing his 3rd.
Yeah, and we have the Stargate you mentioned from White Raw, so it seems we're kind of getting a grip on what this build looks like and how it plays out, and eventually I can just imagine. And also, wow, going for a Robo Facility, that's probably just for observers, or maybe a War Prism. So I'm just guessing right now, guys. This is all very unpredictable of White Raw, so I'm not really ashamed of this. But I imagine that he may try to go for at the same time. He may go for some Oracle harassment alongside with War Prism drops. What do you think?
Yeah, that should be the strategy. Force fields can push back a lot of those queens. If they get a little bit too close, then you can actually pull them in, let the Oracle, let the Sentry do their damage. I'm trying to recall what Right Raw has done with the robotics facility. I believe he's used Warp Prism and Observers and nothing else. I don't remember Immortals or Colossi as of yet, as he's been going Carriers instead for his tier 3.5 massive units.
And right now TLO is just mobilizing all of his 8 Zerglings to make sure that Whiterra has as much trouble as possible securing his third. It seems TLO has a nice grasp on what is the Whiterra's timing on taking his third, so that shows a lot of experience, by the way. And right now he'll just try to block it, and Whiterra doesn't mind that. He's going for Immortals? Oh my, I'm not really sure what Whiterra is going for right now.
Yeah, this is all a little bit strange. The Oracle that he brought over didn't do any damage. It took out one drone in transit, and it is pretty much out of energy. It will not be able to activate that pulsar beam for quite some time.
You
and
know
what do you see?
You know what? I don't see anything, or I may be seeing the future. So what Whiterra did is he showed an Oracle to his opponent, so TLO, having in mind how the previous games played out, he would be expecting, okay, you'll be going for some air harassment. Like you said, you're a one-trick pony. It surprised me once, now it won't surprise me. But Whiterra, what he does instead is just Sentry Immortal. And that will be... Oh, now TLO sees it, so he knows he has been tricked for a second there, and he will probably adjust, but then this has been so smart of Whiterra.
Alright, it's going to come down to Whiterra dealing a lot of damage with the Sentry Immortal composition. There are a lot of Sentries here, some of them with over 150 energy or about 150 energy. That should be plenty of force fields to shut down these Zerglings. But the Zerglings have other ideas. They want to become Banelings, and those Banelings are going to be giving it their all, splashing up on top of those Sentries if given the opportunity.
And you know, when it comes to dealing with Sentry Immortal, Banelings are the perfect answer if you manage to hit the Sentries with them. Otherwise, you have just wasted a ton of Banelings on Immortals, which doesn't do all that much damage. And Whiterra is just having nearly an open front here, and the Banelings go in. Well, most of them just get wasted on the cannons, but Whiterra realizes, holy smokes! Oh, how did they get here? Why are there so many bugs in my base? No, this is not looking good. And it seems he'll be just going for a base trade right now, being so far away, so far into the field. He doesn't really have a big choice, so we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, Whiterra is not looking good right now. He's not going to be able to go back home. Banelings and all the defensive units back home. Beautiful force fields, though, as the Banelings are going to be forced to disengage.
Yes, and now the Mothership Core just has full energy, but it has to be careful. You know, the Mothership Core, if it plays too greedy, it may go down with the full energy. Oh, that's a waste. No, Whiterra has been focused on keeping his army alive. There's not so much he can do back at his base, but then he managed to at least secure his main. So why not? Whiterra may still come out of that, but it seems no, it seems not. His push got cleared, he got too many losses inside his base, so eventually TLO claims the first game in the series for himself. And we are still rolling, guys, so this will not be finished by Whiterra 5-0ing TLO. No, that would not happen. TLO would not let that happen.
Definitely not. TLO getting on the board, attacking with a small, just the right number of units, busting open the front door while having a large enough army composition to defend back at home on 3 bases. And with TLO on the board, has momentum shifted over to the little one.
Exactly. So anyway, guys, we'll be back after a short commercial break while the game is being hosted. Remember, if you follow us, you get a chance of winning a Heart of the Swarm. Also, if you follow us on the social media, you can find all the links here and on the screen that will show up in a second. So make sure you get there, because there's 1 copy of Heart of the Swarm per each social media that will be given out this week. Alright guys, we are now in the lobby, and anyway, I wanted to say thank you, extreme thank you for being with us this whole week. We wanted to have the best celebration one could have the 1 week after the Heart of the Swarm launches. We managed to get so successful with this, 2,000 people watching nearly every day. That is beyond my imagination, to be honest, and it's so good that you guys are following us and want to stay with us, you know, just to make sure that you don't think, you know, we're going to abandon this idea after this week and we'll just disappear. No, we'll be doing even more awesome stuff next month. Starting in April, we'll be doing a monthly tournament that will be for $1,000 prize pool. We will have only the best players participating in that. It will be invitation only. I think next month we'll do some qualifiers, but just to get this started, we'll have invitation only. And we just plan to do more and more and more awesome stuff for you. So stay tuned in Egalistic TV, because this is going to be the next big thing. But anyway, enough of my bubble. Just let's jump straight into the game. We have... Oh, I'll have the pleasure of introducing him now. Spawning the bottom left corner of Kespa Neo Planet S, he is Whitera, his grandpa, and he's also a grandmaster.
Alright, and over here on the top right hand side we have a light blue liquid TLO spawning as the Zerg. So Zerg versus Protoss here on Neo Planet, and I am looking forward to casting this game here. Really been seeing some interesting games played on Neo Planet S, especially when players try to sneak an expansion in the center.
Oh, that expansion in the center is a blast, to be honest, because you have gold mineral fields, and the Vespene geysers are just regular Vespene geysers, so no cheese there. But having gold mineral patches, it makes the Zerg want to have this base, especially considering the fact that the Protoss don't... Well, not only the Protoss, but to be honest, most of the players would just not check this base. How stupid you have to be to go for a natural right at the middle of the map. It's, you know, unthinkable.
Yeah, it puts you in a really bad position if it's scouted, because there's no easy way for you to defend it. But at the same time, most players don't scout that location unless they have an air unit, which obviously Zerg players do have in the early portion of the game. Whitera, however, has been going for that early Stargate. We've seen some Oracle harassment, and with that Oracle harassment, he has been able to keep TLO a little bit on his toes throughout this matchup. And we'll see if Whitera does 2 base, does 3 base, what TLO's plan is, as the game is now on its way.
It seems TLO won't be going as greedy as before. I think Whitera got a nice sense of what TLO is doing with the 2 Zerglings. He noticed that there are not any more Zerglings on the map, and this is why he just teased him with that pylon. Because if you're playing 2 Zerglings only, then and the expansion just goes down. So TLO eventually can make the decision, okay, I'll just go 2 Zerglings this time. Because, you know, if you manage to place a pylon here, this forces you to have at least 4 Zerglings, and if not more sometimes.
Yeah, those 4 Zerglings need to destroy that pylon, and this map is a little bit more difficult for a Zerg player to really establish his third. You can see that the third base down here at what I'll call the 3 or 4 o'clock position is a bit out of the way, hard to get queens over there, but TLO's still going to be doing exactly that, establishing this hatchery at the 3-minute 50-second mark.
And Whitera manages to be even more annoying, getting a couple of zaps on that expansion on the natural. The third, as you said, is going. Now, I think that Whitera should stick with his free base playstyle, because being on 3 bases, when they went for a base trade or what looked like a base trade, Whitera was able to come out on top, because he just had too many bases, and even if TLO would destroy one, Whitera would still be fine. The last game, having only 2 bases, it didn't work out that well.
Yeah, only having 2 bases and being caught out of position a number of times, it just didn't work out well for him at all. And we'll see if Whitera does want to try and establish up this third. It is a bit out of the way. It will be a little bit more difficult to defend, but then again, you gotta take risks in Starcraft, especially if you want to be successful.
Exactly. This game is a combination of risk, training style. I mean, this game is a combination of everything. It's just like playing chess in real time, except you need to gather minerals for your own army, and you also don't see the opposing side of the board. So so StarCraft 2, most awesome game of them all.
Yeah, not being able to see what your opponent is doing, how he's positioning his units, unless you're willing to sacrifice something in order to gain vision, is very, very key. We've seen plenty of times where sneak attacks come into play, or secret strategies, perhaps an all of a sudden tech switch from a Zerg catches a Protoss player off guard as they don't have the right units to deal with Ultralists instead of Broodlords.
Exactly. So, you know, scouting is a huge factor in the game, and in Heart of the Swarm it's been made even more important with the addition of so many other strategies. In Wings of Liberty, the game got kinda standard because there were just not enough units to go for so many different options. And now they did an awesome job in Heart of the Swarm. The game is still pretty well balanced after all. That's at least what the statistics from the beta say. And still, it has so many new openings, so many new options, many new possibilities for harassment, for endgame strategies, for army mixtures. I mean, this is a new pool of possibilities.
Yet the game feels much more dangerous, and now that Protoss players have a true harassment unit in the Oracle. Before, in Wings of Liberty, without the Oracle, you really had to rely on Phoenixes in order to deal some sort of damage, or perhaps really prevent a Zerg player from getting up on third bases without sacrificing something.
Sorry, for a second there. I think TLO will be trying to catch those stalkers here, but no, they just took care of that overload and will be flying away. Sorry to interrupt you there. I thought it's tense, but it was not.
Alright, so Zerg is now trying to sneak their way in. There is one sentry there. It is not guarding the door. Metabolic boost just comes online. But as you can tell, that mothership core in the air offering support, able to protect those stalkers. Without that mothership core, that would have been a goner.
And now the Oracle going after the Queen and just positioning himself a millimeter outside the range of a Spore Crawler. Has to reposition now. But anyway, dealing some nice damage and will fly away. Well, I wouldn't say unscratched, but still alive.
Yeah, that Oracle took a lot of damage, down to 19 hit points. Those shields will recharge, but unlike Terran or Zerg, once you have damage done to their hit points, there's no way to get them back.
Exactly. The shield regenerates though, and on Oracle we need to remember that the shields is a smaller part, smaller half, we could say, of the total health pool. So anyway, back to the strategies of the players themselves. Whitera is going again for the Sentry Immortal, and he is staying on 2 bases. So it seems he'll be trying to make his strategy from the previous game work. Will it work though? I'm not so sure. He's going for a robotic base, so we can kind of smell it in the air that we'll be seeing a Colossi transition.
Yeah, Colossi transition, very good against what we've seen. Extended Thermal Lance already started. Level 1 weapons upgrade already started nearing completion as well. I don't see a Twilight Council anywhere on the field, and without that, we shouldn't be getting into level 2 weapons upgrades. Maybe perhaps instead going into armor, as White Raw is getting his necessary units before he moves out.
Yeah, and the Hydra then will be there, but you know, with Hydras, it's... The Colossi just eat Hydras. They say nom nom, and they just consume them. Now, what I wonder is... I think... Just to finish my point, I think that the crucial aspect of the strategy by TLO will be having Vipers. So we'll see a nice mixture of old Wings of Liberty units with some new refreshed Wings of Liberty unit and a new unit to make it successful against a Colossi-based army.
Yeah, what's key right now is that TLO still doesn't know about those Colossi you mentioned. He's training up a lot of Hydralisks, and Hydralisks are good against Colossus only if they're in range. That's why you need those Vipers. And if they're not in range, those Colossi will absolutely eat through the Vipers here. So this is going to become a little bit of a tense moment. Units are rolling out, the 2 Colossi in the rear, now making a move forward. And will they be spotted? And will TLO have an answer for them as the extended thermal lance range nearing completion?
Oh, and TLO just sending a small commander of Zerglings to pick on the pylons on the map. It should be pretty damn enough, and now, I think now TLO will realize that there are Colossi in the mix, and this bunch of Zergling Hydra army will not be enough. There are some force fields in the mix, just allowing for some... with the Time Warp, this allows for some awesome force fields, although I'm not sure if it was all that effective for Whitera. It is down to the very bitter end right now. TLO has to struggle, but then he hasn't lost all of his Hydras. He's fighting on creep, so the advantage is his.
Yeah, White Rod needs to deal a lot more damage here. So far, it is still about neck and neck. White Rod continuing to push. Hydralisk out of combat range. What's happening next? More Zerglings, more Hydralisk coming back over. Hydralisk on creep so fast as one Colossus gets taken down. More units now trying to reinforce as we still see the engagement going on. Zerglings now finishing up the Stalkers, and TLO looking to deal more damage as White Rod's units are on the run.
Yes, they need to escape, although with the support of one additional Colossi and some Zealots to soak up the damage, Whitera seems persistent enough to carry on with the push. Will it deal enough damage though? I'm not so sure. He doesn't want to engage on creep. I think that the purpose behind that was just to flex his muscles in front of TLO and show that he's intending on assassin. Oh, he is intending on an assault. I mean, I think that he was just trying to show off some aggression to force TLO back into a defensive position and prepare to receive the attack to buy himself more time. But Whitera, in fact, persists with the aggression. Wow.
Yeah, White Rod knows that if he tries to take up a third now, he's going to be behind. He doesn't have as many workers. It's going to take him some time to even establish that base. And if he establishes that base, TLO will pretty much know about it. He has Zerglings, he's been scouting across the map every which way, and we are going to perhaps be seeing the final battle come in here in just a few moments.
Yeah, you're exactly right. 2 Colossi, I'm not sure that's enough. The third one is somewhere on the way, but with the support of so many Zealots, the Stalkers, let's see what sort of upgrades we have. Only +1 for the Protoss, while we have for the Zerg we have only +1 for melee. That's not looking good. So none of these guys being caught up in all of the skirmishes around the map have managed to go for upgrades. They needed all the minerals and gas they could help. And now TLO finishing his spire, but he doesn't have enough for this assault. Oh, or does he? Beautiful fungals just on the Zealots, and the Zealots are so necessary to soak up the damage. The both Colossi go down also quickly, and Whitera GG's because he knows there is no hope left.
Yeah, White Rod with a quick GG there. He knew he couldn't expand. He knew that his attack didn't do enough, and all he could really hope for was to push and perhaps deal a bit more damage. TLO just one step ahead and was able to stop any play before it got started as we now go into Game 6.
Yes, we'll be going into Game 6. In the meanwhile, guys, please, I'm very happy that you support us by watching the commercial breaks. I hope you don't mind them all that much, but we'll be back once the game is hosted, and in the meanwhile you can just read the information about how you can get your Heart of the Swarm copy. It's going to be given out at the end of the stream, and by the end of this week we'll also be giving 4 copies to our subscribers on all social media. Alright guys, as you could hear in the background, there was a nice beeping of Starcraft 2 hearts somewhere in the Blizzard server rooms. But hey, let's introduce the players now, and we have Wytra spawning here in the bottom left corner of the Cloud Kingdom map.
Meanwhile, on the top right, we have Liquid TLO spawning as the blue Zerg. Zerg versus Protoss on Cloud Kingdom. If it wasn't for the fact that it's on Heart of the Swarm, makes me much more excited, as it feels like I've cast plenty of PvZ on Cloud Kingdom for Wings of Liberty already.
Oh yes, and I don't want to beat. Sorry, I don't want. Again, sorry, it's my brain. I don't want to run a risk of beating that horse, but in Wings of Liberty, it has been a great game, and it has just became the future of Starcraft as a brand, as an esport. But I think with time it became too stale with all the strategies. You could almost predict what the players would be going after seeing when they take their gas. And you know, it's not the sort of excitement that viewers were looking for. Now, in Heart of the Swarm, there are so many different options and valleys of possibilities to explore that it's just a different game. And you know, the feedback for Blizzard has been amazing. People are just enjoying the game so immensely. It's like, you know, if StarCraft 2 was my previous favorite game, this is even 10 times better.
Yeah, it is definitely better overall as a game. You can't expect players to do the same exact thing over, and at some point we may find a meta game in Heart of the Swarm, and then Blizzard will come back and say, you know what, let's introduce more units in Legacy of the Void. I'm still 3-4 years away, most likely, yeah. But it's nice to see that Blizzard isn't afraid of adding new units and new skills. They are very mindful of when they do it, though.
Yes.
So that it doesn't completely disrupt the balance of the game completely.
And also, I wanted to mention that, you know, with game being so complex, you don't need to add a ton of new units. Every new unit adds enough complexity to the existing complexity that it's barely enough if they add one more unit per race in the Legacy of the Void. In Heart of the Swarm, yeah. What they did, I think a total of 7 new units across the 3 races. That's not a lot, but see how it changed the game. Oh my god, that's just so amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the Widowmine, it adds early aggression. The Hellbat gives Hellions a very good transition. It makes it a true Tier 2 unit as opposed to a Tier 1.5. The Tempest, a very good long-range anti-air attacking unit, so that works out well. And you know, the Swarm Host and the Viper, 2 units that we both love to see utilized, and we still feel like it hasn't been used enough.
Yes, but you know, I think that players will come up with some nice fancy tricks. We have no reason to think otherwise so far. Some of the players are playing it a little bit too conservative, I would say. But hey, I'm only a caster, so what do I know? They just stick to the old Wings of Liberty standards because it just feels within their comfort zone. But players like Wytra, players like TLO, they are willing to take the risks, and we said that taking the risks is a big part of what StarCraft 2 is all about. And with the expansion, it's not only taking the risk within a game, it's taking the risk as a player and just trying out new styles, and it has been working so well for those of 2 guys that we have right now on the stream.
Alright, and I don't know if you noticed this, but at TLO's natural expansion, there's an idle drone that is absolutely bothering me.
Oh,
and
no.
It's been sitting there for about, I would say, 45 seconds. And this is a huge problem. Players of this level, of this caliber, need every drone and every unit to be doing exactly what they want.
Oh, this drone going, oh look, a bunny! And just staring into the void. I'm not sure this will work well for TLO, exactly like you said. And I think that he has a feeling that something went wrong because his third was probably later than usual, and he has been playing those builds so often that he notices stuff like this. And that drone is still staring in the void, not doing anything. Men at work, as you said. That's not too well.
Well, in any colony, there's always going to be the worker bees and the lazy bees, and now we've seen the lazy bee just, like, it's just sitting there going, okay, I will be here for quite some time. and it finally gets to work. Oh.
Oh. No, there is a joke about construction workers. So, you know, a construction worker comes and says to his boss, "Oh, boss, my shovel just broke." Well, then lean against a ladder then. And this is exactly what that drone was doing, and the shovel broke, and it just didn't have any idea what it should lean against. Anyway, we have some stalkers on the map, as you said, alongside with the mothership cores is a nice mixture just to make sure that some Zerglings get shot by, and Wytra opening as usual, we could say, with an Oracle. Now the question is, will there be many Oracles more? No, they won't. There's only one Robo Facility now, one Stargate, and probably Wytra will go with the same style again, with the exception of the addition of the third base, of course.
Yep. In addition to that, TLO, after spotting that third base, quickly trained up 11 drones, wanted to make sure that he took advantage and you know, just played this well. You can see he's sitting at 57 drones, or 56, as the Oracle going to work, getting in plenty of kills. 4 kills already, and he will be able to go home and write stories of all of his heroic efforts.
Yeah, and you know, the songs will be sung about this Oracle because it escaped with how much health? 60. That's not so heroic. Oh, come on. If it escaped with 2 or 1 hit point, that's something. And we have saw a lot of situations like that. Anyway, Wytra now playing on 3 bases, so he's going for the same style of play as the last game. He'll be going Sentry Immortal, I imagine, and the slight adjustment he made is just securing that third base sooner. So it's a mixture. Oh, sorry, I'm completely wrong now. Wytra just goes for his special tactics and trains a Void Ray. I'm not really sure what for, but I'm sure he'll try to make it work.
Alright, Void Ray now going after an Overlord. Overlord doesn't stand a chance. There it goes. It goes pop. And this is a huge move, because TLO now needs to figure out what is White Rod doing. But there's not that many armored units.
But the Overlord just saw the robotics bay here. So Wytra, I think the Void Ray, there is no continuous Void Ray production now. So this Void Ray, I imagine, was just to deny the scouting information to TLO. And with TLO noticing that robotics bay, it just all failed.
Yeah, I think that Overlord, you know, finished the pneumatized carapace just in time. Got in there. It looks like the Oracle was about to escape at 4 hit points, but still got shot down. That would have been something to write home about.
Yeah, but not enough. Sorry. It takes a special kind of people to become heroes, and that Oracle just wasn't one. So anyway, we have a Spire from TLO, instant reaction time, so as soon as he saw that there's a robotic facility, sorry, robotic bay, I keep confusing those two, a robotic bay going down, he just thought, okay, let's go Spire and let me just counter all those Colossi with my beautiful Corruptors I still have from Wings of Liberty.
Yeah, those Corruptors are going to be the answer. Colossus 1 is currently in production. Are they going to add more and more White Raw, pretty much building that red wall here at that... a beautiful attack now coming in. Stalker Sentries, beautiful force field. The Zerglings unable to engage. There is one Colossus there down low on hit points. 2 Stalkers caught away from the group. They'll get cleaned up as TLO and White Raw have a little bit of a scrimmage, and TLO has lost just a bit more.
And if Wytra would have lost this Colossi, it would be huge. Now, he managed to save it just by a miracle, I would say. The Zerglings completely surrounded it, and it escaped with 64 hit points. That's just a couple of bites from the Zerglings. And now Wytra moving in with a bunch of Stalkers, a Colossi. His army mixture is very unusual, and there is a ton of Mutas instead of the Corruptors, and it seems it will be enough to deal with this army. It wasn't prepared to deal with such heavy air force, and to deal with the Mutas, Wytra needs +2 upgrades. That's the minimal requirement to deal with the air army, but then the Mutas linger too long. There are 2 which are barely on red health. They will just regenerate now, why not? But Wytra still in the game, and he'll just try to prepare himself right now. I guess, yes, he's switching to the Phoenixes, using the Stargate he has. He puts down another one, but is this Colossi necessary? I'm not so sure. It should be picked down pretty easily from all the from all the mutas that we have on the map right now.
Alright, mutas on the map, 20, count them, 20 mutas. They do regenerate hit points fairly quickly. You can see that none of them are in the red any longer. Mutalist now trying to engage. Phoenix quickly gets taken down. Stalkers, Mutalist, both sides are engaging a lot of chain damage, especially without any armor or guardian shield. A new Phoenix comes in only to get destroyed in a moment, and this is no good. There's the GG.
And TLO ties the series 3 against 3. That's, you know, guys, this is something we've expected. Even though Whitera has surprised TLO with his strategies, to start with, TLO is still a professional. He is such a solid player, so he adjusted his game style to match the one of Whitera. And even though Whitera is making slight adjustment, TLO has more or less of an idea what Whitera is going for. So anyway, so far the games have been awesome. We're waiting to see even more of them. This is a best of 9 series, so I just hope this will be a full series. We will see full 9 games out of these players. And I hope it has been a treat for you as much it is for me to cast it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So anyway, let's go into the short commercial break while the game is being hosted. See you later in 3 minutes. And the game is loading. By the way, guys, just a short reminder that there's a thread on Team Liquid where we gather feedback about our casting. So if you want to help me, and I strongly encourage you to do so, just drop me your honest feedback. Let me know what I do well, what I do rubbish, and also if you have any comments about Crota, who's my co-caster, just post there too. So let me just paste you the link right now. And it would be so awesome. I fully intend to become a professional StarCraft 2 caster, and if you help me on the way, that's, I think, the most awesome thing that you can do around the web nowadays.
Yeah, there's too much hate on the web, isn't there? It seems like,
yeah.
You know what, I'm just gonna, oh, you do something I don't like, and I'm gonna make sure you know about it. Like, does that happen in real life? You're walking down the street and and you hear a conversation, and you're like, you know what? You have a horrible accent, or you don't pronounce your R's or T's well. Like, what is this? Like, I'm talking. You are choosing to be here and listen to me, and that's all you have to say. Thank you. I think.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So that conversation would not happen. But on forums, on internet forums, you see that all the time. So, your glasses are horrible. I hate people wearing glasses. They are so cheap. That doesn't even make sense. So why people keep saying things like that? Anyway, just be nice, help us, that's just awesome enough. And remember, for us, awesome is not the limit. Awesome is just not enough. We want to be even better, but you can help us. So make sure you do.
Alright, so let's actually talk about this game. We are 2 minutes and 30 seconds into this game. Whitera is spawning as the red Protoss player on the bottom left-hand side of Whirlwind, and pretty much the build orders are pretty much what we've seen in the past 6 games.
Yeah. So, what do you think will okay, enough questions. I don't know what you have been thinking, but Whitera has I just stomped on it. And oh, he does a full block behind the minerals, but now cancels to pylons. So he sacrificed some minerals to make sure that this cannon rush will in fact happen. So how TLO will react to it? Will he cancel the hatchery? We usually don't know until the last seconds.
Yeah, this is going to become a very, very big gamble. You can see that the spawning pool is just now completing, and with that, TLO may not have enough time to train the necessary queens. Is the cancel coming in?
Yes,
it is. And there's a cancel on the other photon cannon.
That's so nice. And in the background, Whitera just going for his standard opening. Of course, we need to remember. Did you see what Whitera just did? He blocked off TLO's third base. So right now, TLO cannot even secure his natural and his third, and he's forced into this weird position down here on GSL Whirlwind. It's still a location for your third, but I wouldn't say it's the location of preferences. The Zerg highly prefer to expand away from their opponents.
Yeah, so that base will most likely not get cancelled. It's going to be expanding towards his opponent, and that is bad news for TLO unless he tries to transition into some sort of 2-base roach or 3-base roach pressure. Remember, hatcheries, they're good at training units just as well as they are at training drones.
So, where do you think the game will go from now on? There's the third base from TLO, so he intends on playing this macro style. Perhaps it's the good decision. I cannot judge right now. It all depends on what Whitera will do as a follow-up. For now, it just looks like TLO is just trying to scramble this game, and he is struggling so hard.
Yeah, the problem is there is so much open space in between each of these bases. He's not going to have a creep highway connecting all of these bases anytime soon. So Zerglings without metabolic boost, roaches without glial reconstitution, and queens will be that much slower getting from one base to defend to another.
And of course, having in mind that Zerg's army is usually the most mobile one, you want to have your expansions as far away from the opponent just to lure him into the open field, because this is your best chance of surrounding him. So that's all the thought process that goes behind choosing the location for your third base. Anyway, it seems Whitera doesn't want to go for a third base, and he has a pretty broad opening here at his natural. I'm not sure I like it, but hey, it's Whitera, he probably has an idea behind this. And the mothership core is being warped right now. Let's see what Whitera goes for. Is this going to be some 8-gate push? It seems so.
Alright, it could be some sort of 8-gate push. I'm looking at the ramp, and I've seen some maps that actually have a little supply depot, making the ramp just a little bit smaller. I don't see that supply depot here. Meanwhile, the Zealots and the Mothership Core alongside perhaps some reinforcing Stalkers now coming into play, but that is a lot of Zerglings, and even though the creep is small here, there is still plenty to perhaps surround and take down your opponent.
Well, we will see how this works for TLO. I'm not really sure. Oh, and Whitera is warping additional gateways, but it seems he will be going for his third first. He will be basically doing yes, we have the additional gateways now, so it's going to be a 6-gate with +1, maybe +2 later on. But for now, this force will be dealt with pretty damn easily, although Whitera does a nice job of positioning himself between the minerals and between the hatchery, which makes it just more annoying. And oh, the mothership core is still alive. There are no queens, so it can just shoot down on the probes. drones.
Alright, so the Mothership Core taking down a couple of drones there, 2 more. Meanwhile, a Zealot being warped in at the natural expansion location of TLO. White Raw is behind in terms of supply, and he does have a significantly smaller army. Will he be able to do any damage with these Zealots is the key question.
Yeah, and as we said, the opening to his natural is pretty wide, but he probably has an idea behind that. And now the Zerglings are gathering. We have the Banelings that want to be busting and want to be rolling. Is the upgrade done though? No, I don't think there is the Centrifugal Hulk's upgrade. And that's it. The White Ra is now inside the Zerg space, and TLO just goes for a counter-attack now. No, this all gets through. The cannons won't stand a chance, and it seems TLO has to evacuate his main and just goes for the, White Ra just goes for his hatchery.
Alright, so inside TLO is going to try to take down the Nexus of White Ra. Meanwhile, back over here, it looks like the main hatchery has fallen. That means that there is no creep tumors. The spawning pool and the evolution chamber may actually bleed to death. The Mothership Core doesn't have enough energy for the photon charge.
No! Did you say? Oh, this is the crucial mistake. White Ra wanted to stop the Zerglings getting into the main, but that force field was like a second too late. And right now, and the Banelings explode amidst all the probes and drones. Oh, what happens? White Ra is just falling apart. And, he is instead taking apart TLO as well, so this is just an exchange of blows. But with just a slight loss of focus, White Ra led all of those dogs inside his main.
Yeah, those Zerglings really happy inside the main. Gonna take down some additional pylons. Zealots now making their way over, slicing and dicing. Is there gonna be enough? A lot of chrono boost, but nothing to spend it on as there isn't enough resources. Zerglings just taking apart probes left and right. Is it gonna be enough as the Zerglings finally back off?
And now, even though White Ra took down the main of TLO, which puts TLO in a very difficult situation. Oh, the Banelings, just 2 Banelings, just saving the day here, right? They took down most of the Zealots, at least took down most of their health, and TLO is in this weird spot where he has 2 bases so very far apart from each other, and there's another bunch. No, there are just overloads. I thought this is another cloud of Zerglings and Banelings, but no, TLO isn't all that. He isn't that awesome to have so many units at once, even though he's pushed against the wall. And right now, White Ra he is going for this base. This is what he was hoping for, where the game started when he forced TLO to take this base. And if TLO stays on 1 base and White Ra still on 2 bases, with the Nexus in his main and his natural, White Ra should be able to take this game.
Yeah, the TLO does have a drone advantage, 36 compared to 12. It is going to come down to who can rebuild more quickly. I don't believe White Ra has enough units to actually take down this last layer here at the center location, and it's going to really come down to who can rebuild faster and better, which is normally a Zerg advantage.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and I think there will be mutas. We have a Spire morphing, and TLO has... Oh no, he doesn't have enough gas. I was just thinking, if he had enough gas for like 10 mutas, fighting a very sentry heavy army would be awesome, because White Ra didn't take that into account, that he may be fighting mutas, and if TLO goes for mutas, if he managed to get at least 10 of them, it would be awesome, but otherwise I'm not sure that it will deal much damage to White Ra. Now, the very important fact is that TLO is still expanding, so he wants to get back to this game. He doesn't want to surrender, not yet, and White Ra is just going in for the kill now.
Alright, here we go. Bathing's doing a little bit of a dance. Spine crawlers are not up yet. Zerglings now backing off. Where are they going to fight? Another beautiful force field. Baneling's unable to splash up on top of the sentries. And this may be it. TLO has a lot of workers, but nothing else. And with those force fields, I believe White Ra should be able to take it. This base will be falling. Drones and Banelings cowering in the back, with nothing else to show for it but a whole bunch of dead Zerg bodies.
After that base trade, I thought that, oh well, yeah, the Protoss is in a very hard spot, and I'm not sure if White Ra should be going for it, but he went, and it seems he has this. I mean, there are a couple of of mutas, and when I say a couple, I actually mean 2 couples, because there are 4 mutas on the map right now. But it seems Whitera has it, and he, you know, TLO is just betting on the fact that there is nothing to defend in Whitera's main. And is that true? Whitera, it seems he has... he doesn't have enough... Oh, he uses the recall, and he should be able to defend this. My god, I think he has this game.
Yeah, at the natural, he's in a really good position. You can see he can mine freely. He's not creating workers, though. He's still sitting at 11 probes, which does come as a bit of a surprise to me. Whitera, instead of rebuilding his economy, just said, you know what? I have the larger army. There's no way I can get back economically. Let me see if I can just kill you.
It seems his idea exactly. I'm not sure how I feel about the sentries. Oh, but then TLO sees it. Okay, I won't be dragging this for too long. This is a GG. So Whitera taking 1 point lead ahead of TLO. The series is right now at 4 points for Whitera and 3 points for TLO. We will have at least one more match, guys, so stay tuned. At the end of the show match, we'll be giving out a free Heart of the Swarm copy for the live viewers. Not for every one of them. Sorry, we don't have that many. You just, guys, are too many there. But we will pick one most random person from the chat, and to that person, if she or he follows us on Twitch TV, we will give out the free copy. So make sure you follow, and you know, don't force me into making a sad face and saying, oh yeah, sorry, we have to pick someone else now. So we'll be back after a short commercial break. Let's give the players time to catch some what's my brain doing to me today? I can't get a grip on it. So anyway, give us some time to catch a breath. Alright, chaps, as I said previously, thank you in coming in such high numbers. Even though my brain is trolling me like a madman tonight, I will do my best to cast the rest of the series. We will have at least one more awesome match between, and here he is spawning the left side of Antigua Shipyard. He is Liquid TLO.
Meanwhile, spawning on the right side of Antigua Shipyard, it is going to be the red Protoss Whitera, and unfortunately, I am not in the game.
You are not?
I am not.
What has just happened?
I don't know. I tried to join the game and it kicked me out of the lobby twice.
Oh.
And then I was just like, oh, okay. And then you started talking to like, oh, I better take a look on the stream, as it looks as though Whitera gonna be going for a Forge fast expansion once more.
I am so sorry. We didn't have problems with this previously, so I just didn't check, didn't make sure that you're in the lobby. You should have been shouting and just say, oh, get me into the game, let me in! But we'll do our best, guys. We are professionals, we do stuff like this for a living. So anyway, let's see what Whitera goes for. Probably is going to be annoying again with his probe, and also going for some form of opening. Now in Heart of the Swarm, Forge Fast Expand is not the only thing you can do. We have seen players going for Gateway Expand, even for one base expand. So what they would do is do the very old style block of the ramp here in the main against the Zerg, and then just expand and defend it with their own mothership cores.
Yeah, the Mothership Core has really opened up the different styles of play. Instead of having to build photon cannons, you just turn your Nexus into one, and that's usually more than enough to hold off certain timing attacks, unless the Zerg player does cut a few corners in order to try to put down that pressure much, much earlier.
Now we will see when TLO manages to secure his own expansion. Wytra, as we said, being annoying to the limits, and after the last game I think TLO will feel rather uncomfortable considering the fact that he was just cheesed by a cannon rush.
Yeah, that cannon rush really forced TLO to build not in the optimal places. He got some damage done, but White-Raw was really banking that TLO wouldn't be able to play his standard 3 base game. Also on top of that, the Queens weren't able to reinforce each other, the Zerglings were just slightly slower, and in StarCraft is a game of seconds. All you're trying to do is get ahead of your opponent by 1 second, and then turn that into 2 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and once that happens, you're normally able to just snowball into victory.
Exactly, and I think that is the way most esport games are. But anyway, we have a very brave probe guarding the way, but oh, very sloppy. Brave, still sloppy, and 4 Zerglings get into the main. This is annoying like hell, because there will need to be a Stalker or the Mothership Core before Wytra is able to deal with the Zerglings here, and they will of course start nibbing at the Nexus just to be annoying. Perhaps they will kill a probe or two, but the real annoyance is that Wytra cannot make any tech choices without TLO seeing him. So TLO probably has a big broad smile on his mouth right now.
Alright, well, I'm looking at this, and do I see double gateways with no gas? It's going to be quite some time before we even get a Cybernetics core.
But here, we have a cannon rush, guys. Again by Wytra. This time it probably will get stopped, at least a part of it. So now this cannon will be cancelled. No, it wasn't. Holy smokes. And then we have 2 gateways on front, so Wytra probably was planning for something else, but hey, you know, whatever make it work, it's still good. So TLO managing to secure his third, and that cannon rush is no longer working, but we still have those 2 gateways. No cybernetics core. That's Wytra. Oh, I think Wytra just realized, did he do a mistake, or was that delayed because of the cannon rush? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what to make of it. I think the probe was supposed to be in a better position. That gateway perhaps should have been cancelled once the other gateway was done to warp in a cybernetics core. And I think White-Raw just made maybe 1 too many mistakes that led to another, so he does feel a bit behind. He's behind in tech, he's going to be behind in Warp Gate, and with that, he's going to be behind in production.
Yes, but also I kind of expect what his idea behind this was now. If he went for 2 gateways, then if the cannon rush would deal enough damage, and that would force TLO into producing a ton of Zerglings, Wytra would be able to chrono boost out a lot of Zealots from the gateways and just swarm his opponent instead of TLO playing the swarm role here.
Yeah, obviously that didn't work out. I would have even suspected perhaps trying to get level 1 weapons upgrade, but that would have been a lot of gas. I think White-Raw almost special tacticked himself in this game, trying to figure out what exactly he needs to do in order to move out.
So when special tactics backfire, this is what happens. Wytra, by the way, going for a Stargate. I think we will see... Oh, not an Oracle, we see a Phoenix. So... you know, I just love casting Wytra's games because they are so unpredictable. You cannot even say what he is going after you see his gas timings. Even after you see him making a mistake, or perhaps it wasn't even a mistake, perhaps it was a part of a plan, you are not even able to tell what will happen, and this makes him a very difficult opponent to read for his enemies.
Yeah, we're gonna see some Overlord cleanup now, and I like this play by White-Raw. You don't know how many Phoenixes he's going for. Does TLO say, okay, you know what, he's only building 1 or 2 Phoenixes to help clean up these Overlords, or is he gonna go into 5 or 6 Phoenixes, which will forced me to try to train in some Hydralisk. You can see an Overlord on the run. All the Overlords got the memo and head back home.
Nice reflexes by TLO, but sorry, the Overlord is not as fast as his master himself. So, by the way, this has been a recent switch, I believe, where Zerg players playing against Protoss, they would go for that very fast pneumatized carapace upgrade that allows them for faster overload movement to avoid the phoenixes or evacuate all the overlords from around the map. Nice drone pick, probably going for an expansion, no longer, sorry my friend. And yeah, so anyway, lots of nice small changes are beginning to be introduced into Heart of the Swarm. We see new beginning of metagame emerging, and for now, Whiterra with only 3 phoenixes on the map, but keeps producing them. And in the background, you know, we need to remember that Phoenix production isn't all that expensive. In the background, Whiterra just goes for some nice, good old style Colossi.
Alright, the part that confuses me right now is the addition of the Spire. The Spire is not the answer to deal with those Phoenixes. Corruptors, as good as they are going to be more to counter the Colossus. So TLO more thinking of countering the counter to the counter, so to speak. Alright, I need to counter your Colossi. My Phoenixes, my Corruptors, I guess they have their armor. They're going to be able to do their thing. But I also need to figure out a way to deal with everything else.
And Whiterra with such nice positioning well, he just positioned his 2 Zealots and a Stalker in a crevasse here and made them, you know, kill a bunch of Zerglings that would normally just surround and destroy it and eat the remains. And Whiterra still powerful with those Phoenixes, although he's just stopped the production. So and this is, by the way, the hardest moment for the Zerg. Oh, again a drone being picked that doesn't secure this middle base. It's difficult to predict when the Phoenix production will stop, and now TLO went for a bunch of Hydras, and that will be instantly countered by the Colossi. So this looks like a very old style Wings of Liberty play that is now just more viable because the Hydras got buffed.
Yeah, so the Hydra's getting buffed. They're going to be able to perhaps run down and chase down that Colossus after the muscular augments are completed. We can see that there are 6 Corruptors on the field, or will be on the field momentarily, which will be a key in trying to take down those Colossi. Get the corruption on them, chase after those Colossi, but you will be forced to micro, otherwise the Corruptors will be going after those Phoenixes, which is not the target you're looking for.
And Whiterra still keep teasing TLO with showing his Phoenixes, and now TLO has a couple of Corruptors, but Whiterra decides this moment is the best to engage. Not a very good decision after all. Uh-oh. Holy smokes, the Colossi may go down, and yes, it seems they will. Not enough ground support. Whiterra had a nice economy going with 3 bases, but not enough army production. Whiterra 40 supply against 75. I guess TLO will just be able to swarm Whiterra right now, and there's not a lot of... There's nothing that Whiterra can do right now to withstand this.
Yeah, there's really not much that can be done. A second Colossus appears on the scene just in time, but a Corruptor is going to take those down no problem. As the Hydralisks are still reinforcing, Corruptors are now acting as a meat shield. Photon overcharge on that Nexus doing a great job, but at some point the Hydralisk can say, you know what, I'm going to attack somewhere else.
And it seems this is going to be it. Whiterra tries to defend himself until the last drop of blood, but I'm not sure he'll be able to withstand it for much longer. He just tries and tries. We need to remember he still has the economy, but it's just getting more and more difficult to withstand all those pushes from the Zerg, and the Zerg wave is just not ending. I think we'll be seeing a GG momentarily. 14 army supply against 84. That's... I'm sorry, but even Whiterra can't stand this.
Yeah, special tactics will only carry you so far. You're not going to have the hero Lone Ranger Zealot, you know, standing up against a whole bunch of Zerglings. I don't even know if Zeratul can do this.
Yes, you're exactly right, and we have GG well played from Whiterra, and TLO again ties the series 4-4. So we are having the best series of this week, being a full best of 9 against the 2 Titans clashing in the front of our eyes. So guys, I hope you love this show match. I hope you like it. You like our casting. If you don't, or if you think we could improve, and I think there's a lot of improvement to do, just let us know. You can go to Team Liquid. There is a special thread that's that's a place for you to leave feedback for us. And if you do so, we would be so much grateful for that. Every 2 weeks we'll be giving out a free Heart of the Swarm copy just for people who leave the feedback. Not all of them, one of them, but still, leaving feedback is not only helpful for us, but it may get you another Heart of the Swarm copy, so why not? Anyway, we'll be taking a short recess right now. Just let the game's players host another map. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Alright guys, and the last game, I can safely say this is going to be the most awesome game of all. This is literally when the players are fighting for $100, and you know, all the previous game right now just don't matter, because it happens in every tournament, and maybe, you know, $100 is not as much as $30,000, but in the finals they don't even fight, you know, to get more points. This is it. If you win the game, you win just a ton more money than the opponent.
Yeah, always nice to see everything come down to one game, winner take all. And you know, all the games in the past, it's 4-4. You may say, okay, this is like a best of one now. You can't think that way because these players have so much experience with each other, and they've seen different builds. We've seen carriers, we've seen colossi, we've seen. I think I've seen one swarm host. And
yes,
a lot of Vipers.
One, yes,
There's one Swarm host back on Daybreak, I believe. So we'll see. This won't be a series, a best of 9 series without White Raw making every unit. I think the only unit he's missing is a Tempest.
Yes, we haven't seen a Tempest from the Protoss. We haven't seen an Ultralisk from the Zerg.
And we haven't seen a mothership, but then why would you spend so many resources to downgrade your mothership core to a mothership?
Yeah, that's... I didn't want to mention that, but...
I went there. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know, give the mothership like a speed boost, something to make it actually useful, because it just moves so slow and it has a one-shot, one-kill spell. But yeah. you really need that vortex. You need something else.
So right now, it seems Whiterap plans to be annoying again. I'm not surprised at that at all. Although I think neither we or TLO can predict if there is going to be a pylon here that's blocking the expansion. Now I even saw once Whiterap, what he did is he placed a pylon. And when the Zerg thought, ah yeah, okay, I'll just make 4 Zerglings and get rid of the pylon, Whiterap plays a Cybernetics core, and you need much more than 4 Zerglings to take care of that one.
Yeah, placing down a Cybernetics core is a little bit more of a slap in the face, as the Zerglings can't get enough damage onto that Cybernetics core to really take it down, I don't think. And once it does get enough damage, like they're like, oh, it's getting close. He just cancels it and goes, you know what?
Yeah.
I lost 37 minerals.
Exactly.
You lost like 45 seconds of mining time. I think it's a good trade.
And like you said, this is the story that has been told over and over by 5 Fingers. This is the 5 Fingers story, because what do 5 Fingers say? They say slap! And that's it. So anyway, we have a Nexus from Whiterap. We also have a Gateway and a Photon Cannon. So nothing so surprising here. There was no blocking pylon, but Whiterap again being annoying here at the third base. He wants to exploit this probe as long as possible.
Alright, that probe was trying to place down a pylon, was not able to do so, and now the probe run will get stopped. No luck there for Peppy the probe, as we have an establishment of what, the front door photon cannon, and also adding in a cybernetics core as well.
Maybe it's worth mentioning, because we have a lot of people who are just starting their adventure with Starcraft, that here we have, you know, a nice feature of this map is this debris field here at the front, and with this you are able to put down your front wall nicely, and then if you want to move out with your army, if you're ready, you just get rid of the debris field and you just open up your expansion, and it's easier for you to move out with all those big units.
Yeah, all those big units, those Colossi, well, Colossi don't normally have a problem, but yeah. Immortals, Archons, units that, you know, like, I'm too good to stand in a single file line and walk out, all of those units will be able to take down those debris field, and you also have a very, very easy third. You can see TLO already taking down those rocks or that debris field there. Zerglings have a hard time because of that natural 3 armor, but it will fall in just a little bit.
Uh-oh, and Whiterap got supply blocked for a second there, and oh, not such a second anymore, it's... Oh, Whiterap got really supply blocked, but anyway, TLO is so desperate to clear those rocks, because if Whiterap went for some early game cheesy tactics, on this map, Metropolis, is actually so easy to take down the third of the Zerg, and Whiterap says, oh, it's old version. What is old version? They are playing Wings of Liberty! Holy smokes! Oh my god.
It's not Heart of the Swarm! You can't train an Oracle! Wait, what?
Yes! Oh my god. Regame, I guess. Yeah. Alright, regame. Tight! How did they do a tie?
How did that happen?
How did they do a tie?
How? Well, yeah. How did they do a tie too? Wait, like
how do you tie? How do you tie in Starcraft?
I am so confused right now. That what?
I just wanted to make a joke, you know, White takes this serious, but they trolled me. How do you, we need to ask them? How do you tie a game?
It's a 5-5. We're going into like it's a 4-0-1 right now, I guess. So we have to go to an amazing game 10 in this best of 9 series.
Yeah. Oh well.
Oh.
Interesting. Wow. Well, I'm not even sure how to tie.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So.
Someone on the chat says, yeah, Gwen's face should be shown when a tie happens in StarCraft 2. What's this? Yeah, I'm not very photogenic, but I do a lot of silly faces. And also, I don't want to sound like an old record, but I also do an amazing orc sound from Warcraft 3.
Yes, you do. I'm still laughing at, like, I think everyone's afraid of trying to make the map so that we don't go into. How did they do that? I'm still wondering. How did they tie and how did they make a map so that it is Wings of Liberty?
It's funny that they didn't notice until the 5 or 6 minute mark.
Yeah, it was just like, wait a second, how is this like you would think that White Rock clicking on the Nexus, if he looked at that panel, goes like, oh, I can't train a mothership core. You know, like I'm not surprised that TLO didn't notice for quite some time. But then again, if he selected a larva and said, hey, there's no option for Swarm Host or Viper here, something's wrong.
But does it show, now in Wings of Liberty, does it show the numbers above your buildings? I didn't even notice that. I'm not sure. I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they upgraded the interface so that you can see the numbers, but you don't. I don't know. Someone will have to watch the stream and tell us. Yes, the casters should have known. The casters were blind. There wasn't the 0/3 on the assimilator and the extractor.
Yeah. All right, you know guys. But since we are in the lobby and you guys are asking so nicely, you can choose the voice of Orc I will do from Warcraft 3. Remember, we're considering the peon quotes, so let me just Warcraft 3 peon. Just ask me which one should I do and I'll do it for you. Just because I have a good day today. Stop poking me! I'm not even sure if that's a quote, but hey.
No, it is a quote. So if you keep on touching the peon, it will go, stop poking me. And then if you keep on touching him, he'll go, I'm not that type of orc. And then if you keep on poking him, he'll say, that felt kind of nice.
Me... Oh, sorry. Me busy! Leave me alone!
Oh. Alright, so some people were wondering, do people still play Wings of Liberty? I'm not so sure. If you actually played Wings of Liberty, you could say you're Grandmasters, because everyone's playing Heart of the Swarm now, right? So, like, go back to the Wings of Liberty ladder and get to GM.
Yeah.
Because you and
I've heard that a lot of people have got to Grandmasters who never thought that they will get there. So, I think that, you know, right, with Heart of the Swarm being so awesome, this is a very obvious choice to make. Who is hosting? TLO?
Well, TLO is hosting, and he wants a show match between Cry and you, apparently.
Okay, you know, you cast that. I will be stream cheating because I'm also streaming. So, you guys tell me what to do. I will do it really quickly, and yeah. Who is the host? Ah, TLO. Is the
TLO.
host. Yeah, okay. Oh, I'm playing against TLO. Okay, now you guys help me.
All right, Dario appears like, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
You're ready to spectate the game between you. All right, so this is the second daily game number 9 or 10th game in this best of 9 series. I don't even know how to introduce this.
Well, this has been beyond our wildest dreams, guys. First of all, so many of you show up. We have nearly 2,500 viewers live. That's like a shock for me, but still, you viewing this is great, guys. I mean, I enjoy it so immensely. So many people watching. Of course, you're not watching this for me, but I have been the person to organize this alongside with my team to make this happen. And here we have Wytra spawning in the right side of Metropolis map.
Meanwhile, TLO spawning as the blue Zerg here on the bottom left hand, or I can't even say bottom left, it's like, it's right in the middle, so it's the bottom 6 o'clock position. It is to the left of White Raw, and TLO once again playing Zerg. I'd be amazed if he tried to switch it up to Terran again. Yeah, exactly right. So, although Terran are getting a lot of attention because I think that people felt that Terrans have been this race where you always need to turtle and you can try drops, but nowadays Terrans are so amazing with just the addition of Widow Mines and the Hellbats. So many things have changed in the way that Terrans play. So anyway, we'll be talking about that next time when we have a Terran show match. But for now, let's focus on the Zerg. I'm quite sure that TLO he wouldn't like to switch race again. Yeah. Wait, what I'm wondering and what I'm curious about is, will White Raw and TLO do similar builds? Normally, professional players, they have specific builds on specific maps. But these players, this is their second game. They've actually scouted each other a little bit. They know, like, okay, he might be going for a Stargate, or he's going to be using this particular timing. Are they going to perhaps change things, or are they going to stick to the same strategies and try to keep it as though the game never reset? I
guess you never know what goes inside the head of a player. For now, Wytra is just being annoying as always, stealing that $5, running around and having some laughs until he gets chased down by the friends of that drone. But besides that, yeah, it's all cool. We have a Nexus first build. Oh, this is nice. Nexus first build. I think Wytra has a good sense that TLO always goes for heavy economic builds, so why not go Nexus first?
Yeah, Nexus first, a very smart choice. TLO has been going for, and does do the pylon block, but TLO has been going for a 3-minute 50-second hatchery at the third base. So what's this? The Zerglings are going to easily clean that up. 5 minerals lost forever. Cancellation on the pylon, and now TLO is going for a 3-minute 30-second hatchery. Okay, sorry, I thought he was still trying to already building the other hatchery at the third base already. Did you ever wonder about where all the lost minerals go? Because somewhat you gather some minerals and you manage to build Zerglings, Zealots, Marines with them. And once a drone that is carrying minerals gets killed, it just soaks up into the ground. So is there like a second Starcraft 2 world that's upside down and there are just a ton of abandoned Zerglings, Marines and Zealots out there? No, I heard someone wrote a computer program that collects all the lost minerals and then it just funnels into his game, so when he's playing he always has extra economy. Ah, alright. Like that plan from Superman, like take a fraction of a penny from everyone and eventually you'll get rich. So step 1, collect lost minerals. Step 3, profits. Okay, that's an awesome idea, so why not? And Wytra right now not going for any quick upgrades, although he could. I'm just wondering what Wytra will go for, because those first minutes, when you see what is the timing on the +1 upgrade, if any, what's the timing on the Stalker, if there's a Mothership Core aligned to be launched very soon, this is the big tell. So, first of all,
The big tell you can get from a Protoss player is when he starts his +1 upgrade on the Forge. And this is a read you can get as a Zerg. If you stand in front of his base, you will notice that at a certain point in time he starts doing this +1 upgrade. And if it is very quickly in the game, this means it's going to be an all-in with probably 8 or 7 gates, maybe Blink Stalkers, maybe just Zealot Stalkers, Sentries, but anyway you can be sure it's going to be a very rough aggression of 2 bases. If this upgrade gets delayed, this usually means he'll be going for something like Sentry Expand or like Whiterun now, he'll be going just for Stargate.
Alright, so right now, so far, right, while it does have 1 Zealot, there are some Zerglings down. TLO creating a little bit more Zerglings than perhaps White Raw expected, but these Zerglings are dishing at the debris over here. Meanwhile, there is going to be 1 Zealot, 1 Stalker coming in to put pressure in here at the hatchery, at the third. Zerglings doing a run by, but once these rocks go down, the Stalker and the Zealot has to be careful.
Exactly, but I'm sorry, I'm not so sure if that's enough Zerglings. It just looks like barely enough, and a lot of this will come down to the micro. TLO loses 2 additional Zerglings. You may say, oh, that's what's this, 2 Zerglings? But at this stage of the game, this means an extra drone if he has to reproduce them to defend his bases from any unwanted harassment and intrusion.
Yeah, a lot of the times people forget Zerglings aren't free in the early portion of the game. Every Zergling, or every pair of Zerglings you trained could have been a drone. If the Zerglings aren't actively doing something, then it could have been a drone mining, which is always very, very helpful.
And now TLO doing this nice run by. Well, Whiterun's front is protected, but the units that are on the front are not. And oh, we have an Oracle that takes down the Queen in the main of TLO before the Spore Crawler comes up. I think I will start implementing this strategy more and more often. This is awesome. The Oracle can take down Queen one-on-one and even do some additional drone damage. That is just awesome.
Alright, so far the Zerglings are trying to take down the Nexus. Can they get a cancel or perhaps a restart? Yes, the cancel does go down. I don't think it was necessary, but perhaps White Raw likes full hit points on his Nexus as the Zerglings are now retreating.
Yes, the Zerglings are retreating, and I just wonder what will TLO go for. Now, we have saw his game, I think, against Panda Tank. Yes, it was Panda Tank, where TLO would just go mass Zerglings and then straight into Ultras to counter any sort of airplay, because it's so difficult to defend that masses of units if you have only air. But against Whiterun, he's just using a different style, and this shows how good players these guys are. If you manage to implement so many different styles of play, this means you have been practicing a lot. It means at least 100 of games with each of your game styles, or you know, the alternative to that, you are being very creative.
Alright, let's see what's gonna happen here. Zergling's perhaps gonna surround, take down a couple photon cannons and Stalkers here at the third Mothership core, and Stalkers still attacking the rocks instead of the Zerglings, and this is gonna get potentially cleaned up as the Zerglings may force another cancellation on the Nexus. The Nexus needs to be completed before. Oh, it's gonna be so close.
Oh, just before the Nexus finishes. I mean, the timing of this attack has just been perfect. And will the Nexus survive? It's so close. It just drops down in health, and the Zergs retreat. Why? Why did they retreat?
Alright, meanwhile, Void Ray's back inside the main base of TLO. It looks like the Spore Crawler may get taken down. No. Another Queen comes over to offer some support. Void Ray down to 4 hit points. It is on the run.
Oh, it gets destroyed. That was so close. And the second one, it's in danger, but no. TLO hesitates for a second there, giving space to this Void Ray to fly away. But this Nexus here has been so close to being finished. I'm not even sure why the Zerglings retreated. If they would sacrifice themselves, 20... How much health do we have left? 242. I would say that, you know, there were enough Zerglings to deal that sort of damage. But now, it seems TLO just wants to finish this. But there's a Colossi already on the map. So, sorry, my friend, you won't be doing this right now. And Whiterun goes for a Phoenix follow-up. Is he hoping for Mutas?
I think he is hoping for Mutas. And what are we seeing double Spire? Yeah, we have double Spire on the field, so we are going to be getting weapons and armor upgrades. So not only is it going to be a Mutalist follow-up, it's a Mutalist with heavy upgrade follow-up coming in from TLO.
And Wytra is switching into more Stargates, and he's also building a fleet beacon, so he will be going for either Carrier or Tempest. Having in mind the previous games, probably Carrier, but I would love to be surprised.
Alright, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if if White Raw actually got the range upgrade on those Phoenixes. You can see there is already 17 Mutalisks in the field, with 5 more on the way. This is going to be very, very painful. As you saw Mass Mutalisk earlier, here we go.
Oh, and here we go, guys. And the Phoenixes are released upon the Mutas. There are not enough Mutas to deal with the Phoenixes as of yet. And the range upgrade, no, it doesn't happen for now. But the Colossi are there to deal with the Zerglings, although, where did they go? Where are the Colossi?
Colossi perhaps was trying to defend the third. The Zerglings are now in the main. Photon Cannon will get taken down. Mutalisks are regrouping. TLO perhaps wondering how White Raw knew that there would be Phoenixes, and simply that many, as we are still doubly training Phoenixes at this point. No, Anion Pulse Crystals for that +2 range. Phoenix with a range of 7 would be absolutely devastating to these Mutalisks, as the Mutalisks only have a range of 3.
Yes, you're exactly right. And, you know, people have been complaining recently about the strength of the Phoenixes against Mutas, but, you know, this is how it was intended to do in the first place, so I wouldn't be complaining so much if I were you. On the other side, I think that Wytra saw all of that TLO was doing with the Spires when he was going for that harassment with Void Rays and Oracles.
Oh yeah, he saw everything, and so TLO, he realizes that he's really committed to this Mutalisk strategy, so he's already going level 2 Zerg Flyer upgrades. Phoenixes attack doubly, so that means that the armor on those Mutalisks will reduce the damage from 20 down to 16, which is a huge, huge decrease. And that is going to be a problem even for the Corruptors, as the Corruptors will reduce the damage from 10 down to 4.
And the Anion Pulse Cannons have been just finished for the Phoenixes, so now, do they match in range the Corruptors? I think they do. Or
I think they outrange it now.
Oh, this is so good, because the Corruptors are such a natural counter to the Phoenixes, unless the Phoenixes get this upgrade. And uh-oh, the Colossi is up, and the Colossi is not as well protected as the Phoenix, and we have a nice engagement. The players have to make a lot of decisions right now, and it's so difficult. The ton of Zerglings just swarms to the third of Wytra. And will he hold? That's the question, guys. The Mutas are on the field sniping the Colossi, or are they? Yes, the Colossi go down. The second Colossi stays alive, but barely. And it seems TLO has to retreat. But no, he just goes and tries to snipe the Phoenixes. So now TLO has the advantage he needed after all. And he'll be able to just finish Wytra off, perhaps. Oh my god.
Alright, I can't believe I'm going to be saying this, but we're going to have 36 Mutalisks in just a second. If no Mutalisk dies, we're going to have 36 on the field, and that is just going to be so many. 26 already here, and they are going to be 2-2 upgraded in just a second.
Uh-oh, this is not looking good for Wytra. I mean, TLO just pushed Wytra close to the edge, so the Phoenixes didn't have so much room to maneuver and just run around the Corruptors and Mutas. And right now, Wytra trying to defend this, but oh, is it possible? The Colossi will be one-shotted, no, sorry, two-shotted, but that's still quite a lot. And 2 more Colossi on the field, not so sure this will be enough to defend all this Zerg swarm that's just massing outside Wytra's base. And Wytra is going for Dark Shrine, but we have GG well played, and TLO after all takes this serious, even though Wytra was prepared to receive this attack, and he was doing the upgrades on his Phoenixes, and he was doing all the right things. TLO's execution was just perfect, and he managed to take down Wytra 5 against 4. Such close series, don't you think?
Yeah, that was such an entertaining series to cast and watch with you. Those Mutalisks, we never really got to explain how TLO was able to do that. Some viewers may be watching like, oh, so all I need to do to beat Protoss is train 36 Mutalisks and 14 Corruptors. TLO was running on 10 gas. Like he was getting 1,000 or 1,200 gas a minute.
Yes.
That is unheard of.
So anyway guys, give us a couple of minutes, we need to talk with the players, thank them for participating in this awesome show match. In the meanwhile, before we do the Heart of the Swarm giveaway for all of you who are watching this live, please enjoy 5-minute recess while you can watch the Starcraft 2 news of the week. That's another show we do, just let us know if you like it, because we just hope to bring you the best in esports one step closer to you, so you don't need to look too far. So anyway, give us a couple of minutes, we'll be back with you with the Heart of the Swarm giveaway, and in the meanwhile we need to thank the players. So, you know, stay here, don't go anywhere. It is the 18th of March 2013 and you're watching Starcraft 2 news of the week. The Swarm has been unleashed, but if you somehow missed all the hype, Team Liquid is here to the rescue. The new expansion has been data mined. All new information about lore, music, feature, achievements, rewards and more has been put together in one major topic. Wondering perhaps about the ladder map pool? You can check it on Team Liquid thread and see for yourself all the new shiny maps eager to be played on. For all the music lovers out there, a full soundtrack has been uploaded into 1 hour long video, so you can seamlessly enjoy it. Still confused with the new units and strats? Want to know what has changed since the Wings of Liberty? Check out this FAQ topic on Team Liquid forums where all your questions are answered. In case you missed it, Heart of the Swarm launch events around the globe were a blast. No worries though, Blizzard have put all the VODs in a convenient link so you can catch up and feel the hype. Balance is always on the lips of the community. No wonder David Kim is a frequent target of interviews whenever he shows up. Widow Mines, Mothership Core, Hellbats, Void Rays and Ultralisks. Want to know what the Balance Mastermind has in store for them? Patch 206, you ask? Small patch, bugs fixed, people are happier. Blizzard is not only making brilliant games, but also that dreams come true. With the Make-A-Wish Foundation, Benjamin and his 2 friends became the happiest people alive. They traveled to South Korea, played against Terrans, their favorite Starcraft 2 team's prime, and attended the Global Starcraft 2 League finals. Sometimes wishes are answered thanks to the great attitude at Blizzard. Going back to the balance again, Starcraft 2 community as always tries to answer the everlasting question, is there balance? Great topic summarizing 3 years of GSL, the best league on the planet. The answer is rather interesting. Despite differences in specific years and periods, it turns out that overall Starcraft 2 is pretty damn balanced. Great news, everyone! See for yourself how it was back in the days. The strategies, battles and great players clashing the world's top Starcraft 2 league. What are we talking about? GSL 2011 videos are now free for all to view. The games are part of the mass culture, and recent PETA action is the living proof of it. The organization tries to remind us about treating people properly by convincing players that Zerglings have feelings too. Hard to determine if it's a humoristic metaphor or a serious misunderstanding, but for sure, PETA got creative. Leaving the matters of Terran-bug relationship, Complexity Gaming have hit the jackpot. That is all because Newegg.com is their new sponsor. Good to hear that not all of esports teams are struggling for survival. The recent star of EG Rooster, Puma, has been released. As always on such occasions, humble words were spoken, but wearing off the sugarcoat, there was tension about the contract and both sides agreed to part ways. Even though Puma lately was little out of shape, he is still one of the top players out there. Puma's former team colleague, Polt, has found a new team. CM Storm will be sponsoring the legendary Terran. Top Korean players in the world aren't free agents for too long. Spring is coming, which means the barbecue! Team Acer got their hands on Parting, the one of the best Protoss in the world. Check this out for his view on his career, current state of the game, GSL and more. People wonder why Koreans are top players in the world. MLG shows that they are just treating the